Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a huge challenge that was front and center at the World Economic Forum, a potential jobs crisis brewing in the world's fastest growing economies. So let's start with just a number, 800 million. It's a massive, almost unbelievable figure, and it represents one of the biggest hurdles the entire global economy is going to face. But what exactly is it? What does it mean? Well, World Bank President Ajay Banga really broke down the math for us, and it's pretty stark. See, over the next 15 years, we're looking at about 1.2 billion young people in emerging markets hitting the job market. But, and this is a big but, the way things are going, those economies are only projected to create about 400 million jobs. You do the math, that leaves a gap of 800 million people. And let's be clear, this is not just some number in an economic report. This is a massive human challenge. We're talking about hundreds of millions of lives, of dreams, of families, all looking for a foothold, for some stability. And that really gets to the heart of it, right? As Singapore's President Tharman points out, people don't just want a job. They want security, they want dignity, they want a chance to build a life. So the real goal here isn't just about plugging a hole with numbers. It's about creating a future where work actually means something.
Okay, so the problem is huge. We get that. The question is, what's the plan? Well, the World Bank is putting forward a whole new playbook, a strategy aimed at kickstarting job creation on a scale we've never really seen before.
The whole idea is to create what Ajay Banga calls a positive flywheel. Think of it like this. First, you lay the groundwork. You invest in basics like power, internet, and of course, people's skills. That foundation creates an environment where private businesses can actually take root and grow. And then you fuel it all with financing, especially for those small local businesses that are the real engines of job growth. Each part feeds the next, getting that flywheel spinning faster and faster. And they're not just guessing here. The strategy really zooms in on 5 key sectors. Now, what's cool about this is that it's not about waiting for jobs to be outsourced from somewhere else. It's about building strong local economies from the ground up, from infrastructure and healthcare to helping small farmers level up, boosting tourism, and manufacturing things that add real value right there at home. But of course, hanging over this whole conversation is one giant variable: technology. And you know what I'm talking about, the absolutely disruptive force of artificial intelligence. And AI, well, it's the classic double-edged sword, isn't it? On one side, there's a real risk. A lot of white-collar jobs, things like compliance or auditing, could be automated. But on the flip side, there's this incredible opportunity to empower people. Just imagine a small farmer getting real-time data on their crops, or a local healthcare tech using AI to help with diagnoses. It could be a game changer.
The message we're hearing from leaders, like the CEO of Petronas, is pretty blunt. You just can't ignore AI. It's not an option anymore. The challenge isn't about fighting technology. It's about adapting our workforce, and fast. Because companies that don't get on board aren't just going to fall behind. They're going to end up failing their own people.
So as we're trying to wrap our heads around new tech, there's another shift we need to make. We have to completely rethink what we even count as work. To really tackle this jobs challenge, we have to start seeing the massive economic engines that right now are almost completely invisible. And it really comes down to this simple question. It sounds basic, but asking what work do we value forces us to look past the obvious 9-to-5 jobs and see the hidden systems that actually keep our societies running. For starters, there's all the unpaid care work. We're talking about cooking, cleaning, taking care of kids and the elderly. It is the absolute bedrock of our economy, but it's not counted in GDP. It's invisible. And, overwhelmingly, this work is done by women. Just recognizing that is a huge critical step. And second, you have the informal sector. Look at a country like Nigeria. A mind-blowing 84% of all jobs there come from micro, small, and medium-sized businesses. These aren't huge corporations. They're the local shopkeepers, the artisans, the entrepreneurs who are the real backbone of the entire job market. So when you put all these pieces together, you start to see the conversation really shifting. It's moving away from just counting jobs and moving towards thinking about the quality of those jobs, the inclusivity, and, the very purpose of work itself. And a big part of that is tearing down these old, outdated hierarchies. For way too long, we've had this idea that an academic degree is somehow better than a vocational skill. The future is going to demand what some are calling a parity of esteem, a world where we value the mastery of a skilled electrician or a compassionate nurse just as much as we value a university professor.
And that really leaves us with the final, biggest question of all. We have the plans, we have the strategies, we know on paper how to create jobs. But the real test, the challenge that will define our time, is whether we can build an economy that doesn't just hand out a paycheck, but one that actually affirms human value and offers dignity to those 800 million people and everyone else too.